The meeting at Kurukshetra. Skanda 10, chapter 82 to 84. There was a total eclipse of the sun. Krishna and all the Yadavas went to Kurukshetra to bathe on the occasion. Nanda, the Gopas and Gopis all came there. Kunti and her sons Bhishma, Drona, and all the kings also went. They all went together. The Bhagavata Purana carefully avoids the battle at Kurukshetra. It barely mentions the duel between Bhima and Duryodhana. According to the Mahabharata, Bhishma, Drona, and all the brothers of Duryodhana had been killed before the fight took place between Bhima and Duryodhana. But we find here that they were all present at the Kurukshetra meeting. A slight explanation will be necessary to put the readers on the right line of thought. The ideal of Mahabharata was Tattvamasi, the unity of Jiva and Ishvara. Krishna and Arjuna looked alike. They were close companions. This Advaita view struck at the root of Upasana, accepting as a means to an end. It puts into the shade altogether the path of compassion, the path of service of which Narada is a guide for this kalpa. So we find even Bhishma being killed. Bhishma died at Uttarayana and necessarily passed through the Devayana Marga as an Upasaka. Whatever might be the goal of Upasana, the Bhagavata Purana treats of Upasana as an end and not as a means. The Bhagavatas, the Sattvatas, the Vaishnavas do not ask for nirvana mukti. They ask for devotion to the Lord of the universe. They work in the universe as servants of the Lord, taking the whole universe to be their own selves. Kurukshetra battle is therefore out of place in the Bhagavata Purana. This explains the great meeting at Kurukshetra instead of the great annihilation. Kunti complained to Vasudeva that he did not make any inquiries about her and her sons in her many afflictions. Vasudeva said, for fear of Kansa, the Yadavas had scattered themselves and they could not make inquiries about one another. The Kurus, Pandavas, and the kings were all glad to see Krishna and his wives. Rama and Krishna duly honored them all and made valuable presents. They all admired the good fortune of the Yadavas in having Krishna always in their midst. Nanda and Yashoda were duly respected by Vasudeva and his wives. Krishna met the gopis in privacy. He embraced them all, and after inquiry about their safety, said smilingly, do you remember us, O friends? For the good of those whom we call our own, we have been long in putting down the adverse party. So, or do you think little of us, feeling that we have been ungrateful to you? Know for certain it is the Lord who unites and separates all beings. As the wind unites masses of clouds, grass, cotton, and dust particles, and again disunites them, so the Creator does with all beings. Devotion to me serves to make beings immortal. How glad I am that you have this love to me, for by that love you gain me back. I am the beginning and end of all beings. I am both inside and outside. As the material objects resolve themselves into the primal elements, Akasha, air, fire, water, and earth, so the material parts in all beings resolve themselves into the primal elements. Atma pervades all beings as a conscious perceiver. Know both the perceiver and the perceived to be reflected in me, the supreme and the immutable. The gopis were taught this Adhyatma teaching by Sri Krishna. Bearing this teaching constantly in mind, they cast off their Jiva sheath, Jiva Kosha, and they attained Krishna. And they said, O Krishna, let thy lotus feet be ever present in our minds. Home seeking though we may have been, the lords of yoga, by their profound wisdom, meditate on thy feet in their hearts. It is by thy feet that those that have fallen into the well of samsara are raised. Here we take a final leave of the gopis. They had known Krishna as the Purusha of the heart. They now knew him as the all pervading Purusha. They were drawn back into the bosom of that Purusha, their Linga Sharira destroyed. They now entered the divine state, but even there, they did not forget the lotus feet of Krishna. They became centers of devotional love in the bosom of the universal Lord. Yudhishthira and other friends of Krishna addressed him as all incarnating Purusha. The wives of Krishna related to Draupadi how they came to be married to him. The rishis addressed Sri Krishna as Ishvara. They then took leave of him. Vasudeva, however, detained them, saying they should instruct him as how he could exhaust his karma. Narada said it was no wonder that he should ask this question of him and not of Krishna, for proximity is a cause of disregard. The rishis addressing Vasudeva said, Karma is exhausted by karma. Worship Vishnu by yajna. He is the Lord of all yajnas. Wise men do not wish for riches by the performance of yajna, nor do they wish for men or enjoyments. They give up all desires and then go to the forest for tapas. The twice born are indebted to the devas, rishis, and pitris by their birth. You have paid up your debts to the rishis and to the pitris. Now pay up your debts to the devas by the performance of yajna and then give up your home. Vasudeva then performed yajna and the rishis officiated. The yajna over, the rishis went away. Dhritarashtra, Vidura, and Pandavas, Bhishma, Drona, Kunti, Narada, Vyasa, his friends and relatives, parted with a heavy heart. Narada and his followers were detained for 3 months by the Yadavas, such was their love for them. They then received many presents and left for Mathura. Seeing the approach of the rainy season, the Yadavas also went back to Dwaraka. Vasudeva, Devaki, and their dead sons. Skanda 10, chapter 85. Vasudeva now believed his sons to be lords of the universe. He once asked them whether they had not incarnated for relieving the pressure on the earth. Krishna replied, I, yourselves, this Rama, the people of Dwaraka, nay, the whole universe, are to be known as Brahma. Atma, though one and self manifest, becomes manifold according to the nature of the beings in which its manifestation takes place. Compare the variety in the manifestation of the bhutas in the bhautic objects. Hearing these words of wisdom, Vasudeva learned to see unity in diversity. Devaki had heard of the powers of Rama and Krishna in bringing back to life the deceased son of their guru. She asked them to shew her the sons that had been killed by Kansha. Rama and Krishna entered by yogic power the regions of Sutala. Bali shewed them every respect and worshipped them. Krishna said, in the Swayambhava Manvantara, Marichi had 6 sons by Urna. These sons of the rishi laughed at Brahma because he grew passionate towards his daughter. For this they became asuras and sons of Hiranyakashipu. Yogamaya carried them to the womb of Devaki and they became her sons. They were killed by Kansa. Devaki takes them to be her own sons and laments over their death. They are now with you. I shall, I shall take them over to my mother to remove her grief. They shall then go to Devaloka, free from the effects of their curse. Smara, Udgita, Parishvanga, Patanga, Shudra, Bhuka, and Grini, these shall by my favor again attain a good state. Smara is called Kirtimat. Krishna took the boys to Devaki and she embraced them all. They were then taken to Devaloka.